Welcome to the One Small Town podcast. I'm here with our esteemed UK ambassador, Julia Buttery, and of course, the founder of One Small Town, Michael Tunninger, who is also our walking encyclopedia of One Small Town. So he's only been doing it for 2 decades. So I'm guessing he's picked up a thing or two along the way. And we're going to go through a number of questions this week that we had posed to us at an event. In fact, 2 events at Buxton and Dorking. So we're going to go through these questions, and if this answers your question, great. If not, send in your question to us. We'd love to answer it, or add your question in below in the comments. So, hello.
Hello
To you both.
Michael.
Hello. Hi
Hello.
there.
For that, I just want to say thanks to all the people that came to see us in Buxton and in Dorking. This is our first follow-up video that we promised we would do, follow-up Zoom calls and Q&As and online meetings and so forth. So this is the first of those series of online events. And I'm really quite excited because there's been some really awesome positive feedback from all kinds of people that attended, from people that want to be involved, from engineering companies, construction companies, from farmers, from accountants, from business-minded people. It's really awesome to see this kind of wave of feedback after this UK tour and the activity that Michael and Julia put together. So I'm really excited. On top of what's happening here in South Africa with our technology, our factory, all the developments there that are just exploding, the interest in the technology token and the other technologies. So just really want to give you feedback from my side as well. What's happened since I've come home. I have hardly been able to touch the ground. Things are just flying. And look, today I've got 3 major meetings with new technology people, with a first One Small Town in South Africa, where a full management team has come together of high-level business people and financial people and community leaders and agricultural leaders and engineers and et cetera, et cetera. So literally after this Zoom call that we're doing now, so many exciting things happening. Just to give you this feedback that while you may not be always aware of what's happening behind the scenes, you can become the driver of what's happening behind the scenes. Remember, this is your initiative. One Small Town is the people's initiative. It's up to each and every one of you watching this video that can say, you know what? I'm retired. I don't have anything to do, or I have so much money. I don't know what to do. I'm bored with myself. I want to do something, or for any other reason that you might want to take on this flag and run with One Small Town in your community. This is your opportunity to do so. Right, that's my little intro speech. Let's carry on with the Q&A.
That's
I'm just
fantastic.
going to add one little extra thing in that what Michael Chamberlain and I have been a little quiet because we've been wading through some amazing feedback, some great questions, and some great meetings. So that's why we've been a little quiet since the 2 events. So now we hope to start this off with our first, as Michael said, our first Zoom call, one of many.
Yeah.
Yes, we did have something of an unofficial first podcast when we were on location in the north of England. And Michael and I sat down and had a quick podcast. We'll try and put a link to that here somewhere so that you can go back and watch that. And that's great because actually I was going to read a bit of the feedback that we've got. The first one, because I wrote them all down. I listed everything people said. It took me ages. And one of the ones here just says, "Thank you for all you do." And I think that echoes, the effort that you just mentioned, Michael, that you put in on a daily basis. So I think that's really nice for them just to write that. And another one was a brilliant way to change and live our lives for freedom. And I think it's good that they recognise that this is a complete change in the way that we're looking to do things. So that's fantastic. So if we're ready, I will crack on with the first question. They say, what if I live in an area where I cannot find One Small Town work? So I presume they're thinking if there's no town near them. So who wants to kick us off with that? Do you want to go, Michael?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because it shows that the person asking that question hasn't yet fully grasped what One Small Town, how it works and how it's launched and so forth. So let's just
Well, it's great that we're
unpack
doing
this.
this then, isn't it? Because then, we're helping them to learn more about it.
Exactly. So these Q&A sessions are critical because, from these questions, you realize where the people are not connecting the dots, where they're missing some information. And you get it directly, immediately from the way they phrase the question, they ask the question. So it's really important that we do this. So, and again, keep in mind, I've been doing this for so long. I can see immediately where that person is, has missed something or etc. So let's answer that. So can you read that question again, Michael?
I
Just read
can.
it once again.
What if I live in an area where I cannot find one small town work?
Right. So first of all, One Small Town is a community initiative where we as the people come together. We decide what we need to fix in our town. That's assuming that you want to do that, right? We assume that we all agree that our towns are not working. The world is around us. The socioeconomic system it isn't working the way we'd like it to work. And that's why we'd like to start One Small Town in our community for those reasons and many other personal reasons for many different people will all have their own individual personal reasons. But they all filter through and focus on the fact that our world is breaking apart. And it's very, very visible in the small towns, often more so than in the cities. So this is where people come together and they decide what to do, what they want to fix in their town, and what businesses we as a community want to start so we can create businesses that belong to us as the community. So One Small Town, in a sense, does not offer jobs to people. We're not a job creating agency or a job offering agency. Right? So we don't offer jobs to people. We inspire people in communities to start their own businesses. So what is the consequence of that action if you start your own businesses? There's several consequences to that. First of all, every business needs to be run by a group of specialists, somebody who's specialized to run that business. If you're starting a bakery, you want a baker to do the work. If you want a dairy, you want somebody who knows how to run a dairy and how to make butter and cream and milk and yogurt and cheese and whatever else comes out of a dairy. So if you want to start an engineering shop, you want an engineer to run the factory. So you don't start businesses with volunteers. So every business that we start as a community comes as a result of a business plan. And that business plan gets put together with the specialists in mind who will manage and run and launch that business for us, the members of the community. We come up with the idea, we'd say, well, we want a cornflake factory because we got a corn farm and we got corn and etc. and we can get it and we can make cornflakes or whatever else from the corn flour. So we want to come up with a cornflake factory. So we put a business plan together. The consequence of that is that the cornflake factory will have a few permanent jobs. So this is the important things. Every business that we start will have a combination of permanent jobs, of full-time jobs, of people that are experts, that are absolutely necessary to run and manage that business. And then the rest of the people, the members of our community, that do all the unskilled labor. The security, the holding, the driving, the package, the boxing, the bagging, the whatever, plus the centralized work like the IT or the bookkeeping or the PR or the social media. Those are all the business, all the activities in every business that can be centralized. So in our small town, we don't need an accounting department for every business because we're ultimately running all the businesses. We're the co-owners of all these businesses. So we'll probably set up a central accounting business that runs the accounting for all the different businesses that we start. So I hope I'm starting to get through to the person that asked that question. You're never going to be close to a small town that offers you a job. But if you are in a small town that needs the specialized skills that you have, if you're an engineer that specializes in laser production things, and we're starting a laser production engineering factory, then yes, we will probably get you to run that engineering shop, which will be a full-time job, where will you get a full-time salary on a package from that business that is started by the community, but you'll be one of the few permanent employees in that business to run it for and on behalf of the community. I hope that's sort of
Yep.
Yeah, it does. Is
Yes.
there anything you want to add, Julia?
Yeah, so I kind of read into that question something slightly different. So they could have meant, how can I contribute my 3 hours? They just use the term job because it's a generic
right.
term. So all of that information is completely necessary to get that across. But the point I want to pick out is you mentioned the centralized type of work, and and I think there will be all sorts of ways of contributing skills, transferable skills into the centralized team. So, I mean, you saw how England's mapped out, or the UK's mapped out. The towns are very close to each other. So it could be that that person can contribute their time to a nearby project because the platform allows that to happen. So there will be centralized jobs or ways of contributing time, as well as the ways that Michael just described.
So what I've done also is I've separated the word job and
Yeah.
work. So a job is a very specific function,
Yes,
but the One Small Town community-owned businesses and our community upliftment programs or projects create work for all our members. It's something you go and do on a daily basis or a weekly basis, depends how much time you've got, because you choose to go and do that. Because by doing this work for your community or for the businesses that we've started, keep in mind that you have to contribute a minimum of 3 hours a week. And the whole One Small Town model is based on the fact that our members in our town will contribute a minimum of 3 hours a week. So we base our work required labor force and the required businesses that we need for the full-time jobs and the required labor to do all the additional work in each business. We base that on the number of members we have and the minimum number of hours they're going to contribute every week. So if we have 1,000 members signed up, that means we have 3,000 hours of labor that we can contribute ourselves. Over and above that, we have the full-time employees that we have appointed as the people that will run our specialized businesses, right? Because they're experts and we've chosen them to run our businesses. Because you don't want a bunch of, ignorant people running your business. You want the best possible expert to run your businesses for you to make the most success and the most profit for us. So I hope that makes sense.
Fantastic. I think it's probably worth pointing out as well that that doesn't stop you signing up as a member, does it? And actually, I call those that have signed up as a member and they're not doing remote type contribution. They're not in a town yet that they can contribute to. I call them dormant members, which I think kind of sums up that they're members in waiting, I suppose, for when we do have work for them remotely or in their town. So that doesn't stop you signing up. People go to onesmalltown.org, sign up as a member. And this is why we're doing this, so that we can answer these questions comprehensively.
When you sign up as a member online on our website, when you sign up as a member, that doesn't mean you have to start contributing 3 hours somewhere now, next week, because that's what some people might also get. That just means that you're now a global member of One Small Town, and you can buy tokens, or somebody can send you tokens, or you can put at the bottom of your invoices to say that you accept payment in Infinity tokens, and here's my digital wallet address, just like we used to do with Bitcoin in the early days before Bitcoin became, an enrichment tool rather than a community empowerment tool. So you can start doing that as a One Small Town member. You can also offer to pay people in Infinity tokens if you have them, if you bought them. Keep in mind we issued 24 million Infinity tokens that are available for people to buy. So you can buy them while they're available. That's what we call our seed capital funding, our seed funding tokens. The selling of those tokens helps to fund the One Small Town office and the setting up of our technology, our factories, etc., etc. And the more tokens we sell, the more we can do.
Okay.
So
yeah, we'll have questions around that as well. Actually,
you get interrupted because I can go down many rabbit holes with these because
of course,
in my mind everything is interconnected. So once I go down one rabbit hole, I realize it's connected to that thing. And
so we're going to interrupt you then.
You can interrupt me.
Because we do have questions around all of those tokens, and so we can nicely compartmentalize the questions.
Yes.
And you can apply the rabbit hole around each question.
Yes. So we'll be tackling all of those and more, and absolutely, and that's why it's worth signing up as a member, because then you are ready and you can already engage as Michael's outlined there. So that's fantastic. So the next question is, if I was to open an OST business, what profit goes into the one starting and running it, and the percentages?
So let's
Right.
just give you the business model there then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So keep in mind again, if you want to open a one small town business, then you first of all, are you opening it as an investor, as somebody who puts the funding together? Are you opening it as a person who wants to run it, who wants to manage it? Are you opening it because it's an idea that you have and you want someone in the community to run it? It's a bit of a vague question, right? Because of if you understand how one small town works, then again you would understand how vague that question is from a one small town perspective. So we need to unpack how one small town businesses are started to make sense of that question, or for anyone else who hears that question to understand why that question is a little vague. So one small town businesses are started by our members and our community, our one small town management team, the ambassador, the business planner, the project manager, the advisors, the team that gets put together by the ambassador in a community. Or anybody else that says, hey, I've got a business idea. Here's a business plan. Can we start this as a community business? And they bring the business plan to the table. And you look at the business plan and you say, oh, this is fantastic. A fridge factory, absolutely. We got special ways of making fridges or whatever. There's something unique about this business plan. You say, this is a great business. Let's start this business. So, and the business plan is written. You need £1 million to start it. So that's how you would start a one small town business. So now we then have to find the people that are going to run that business. Where do we find the specialists that know how to run a fridge making factory? And then we look for those people and we bring them in and we offer them a job, because the payment of this experts to run a fridge making factory are in the business plan. It's in the business model and it shows a great profit and return on investment. That's why we want to do it as a community. So
Yeah.
from what sense are you starting the business?
Sure.
If you are
Well,
an investor, that doesn't mean you're going to be running the business. The
yeah.
investor is not necessarily going to run the business. The community members are not going to run the business. They're just going to do all the ancillary work, like we said before. The business is going to be run by appointed people that come out of the business plan with the funds allocated to those people's salaries according to the business plan. So if you want to start a business, you can then, and you want to start a business because you know how to run a fridge factory, then you'll be given the job to run the fridge factory. And that'll come with a salary, with the benefits that come as you and your community decide, and so forth. If you start the business as a funder, as an investor, that's when you'll get your 30%. 30% that goes to the investor or the funder. And if you the only funder, only investor, then you get the full 30%. If you're a partial investor into the business, then you get a proportional return based on how much you invested, based on the required investment. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Anything you want to add, Julia?
yes, sorry, yes, I preempted that. So one of the videos that we're going to make is along the lines of the org structure. So how a town support team works and all the positions within the town support team, so that people can see that there is an organized structure to how we put forward these business plans, that it's not just, oh, let's just put a fridge factory plan together, then hope somebody that knows how to make fridges comes forward, that there is a sort of step-by-step way of implementing your town and your projects. So we'll put that together as a separate video so that people can put the context around, or some extra context around what you've just said there, Michael.
Yeah, and it's also, this is a bit of a hangover from the early days of the Ubuntu movement and the early days of the One Small Town Initiative, where people thought, oh, this is like an intentional community. Let's get together and grow some food on a piece of land. It's we obviously moved so far away from that. So that's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's a very serious thing where we look at very serious businesses and make very serious profits, how to do the business plans for them, how to raise the funds for it, and how to start those businesses. That's what this is all about.
Yes. If you want a sneak peek, go onto the website, and I can't think where it is, but maybe we'll put it in the link. There are the country and the town ambassadors manual, and on I think the front page is the chart of the organization chart. So you can get a sneak peek there, but we will run a dedicated video all about that.
Yes, so make sure you tune in for that because we'll probably go through a series of videos outlining the Ambassador's Manual for the Ambassador's Manual, Country Manual, and the Ambassador's Town Manual. And we'll get obviously Julia and Michael back to get their input on those. On to the next question then. Yeah, this is an interesting one. Okay, I would like to know what happens to our membership when we die.
Oh, good question.
Good question. A little bit dark, but it has to be addressed, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I think, and we wrote these models some time ago, and I know that we dealt with that. But I must tell you that right now I'm a little bit fuzzy on that. I'm sure that somewhere in the terms and conditions is that if you die and you've appointed heirs to like in any normal situation,
Like a will?
like a will, then your heirs will then be granted your tokens. If you have, say 100,000 tokens accumulated and you have somebody in your will, then the One Small Town head office will transfer the tokens from the deceased person's wallet to your wallet if that will is presented. And I'm sure we've dealt with that in that normal run-of-the-mill ways. But it's obviously a lot less bureaucratic and red tape than you have with state wills and all the nonsense you have to go through when you have a death in your family. It's a nightmare. I remember when my father died, it was an absolute nightmare that we went through with all that stuff.
Yeah.
And anyone that's had to deal with it will
It's
know
a,
what I mean.
it's a difficult enough time anyway, isn't it, without adding in further complications. And
Yeah.
on that point, I guess if we're further down the line and people are earning, dividends, monthly amounts from the profits from all the businesses, then we're into a monetary value, which I guess they would then just need to incorporate into their will as they would normally.
Well, let's be very clear about this. The only thing that you can transfer to your relatives are the tokens that you hold. And this is why we also created the technology tokens and what we call the investor tokens, if you want to call it that. I don't want to call it that because the word investment carries all kinds of legal complications with it. So we don't want to use the word investment. But if you've been a donor and a contributor towards funding one of the businesses, you'll have tokens that are connected to that business and the rewards that business pays you based on the number of tokens you hold and the profitability of that business. So you'll then receive those tokens from your ancestors or from your relatives that passed on, and those tokens will then automatically channel the distribution of the profits to you as the token holder. So we've really simplified this and made it very,
Yeah.
very easy for
Because
people to take on somebody else's tokens.
because anything that's money orientated would get dealt with in the normal probate way.
Yeah, it would.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this case, let's just simplify it.
Yeah,
If
transfer
if
tokens.
if I die and my will says that all the tokens I hold in my One Small Town wallet must be transferred to my wife. It's literally it could be as simple as that. That's my will. Dated, signed, stamped, whatever. That's it. So we get it, we receive it, and the head office gets it, receives it, and we execute that will based on the direction of the will. I would just want to add to this. So this will, or what happens to my tokens when I die, that I believe is a online smart contract. If it's not, it will become an online smart contract. So it's part of your membership. So nobody can say, "Oh, you wrote this afterwards," or someone wrote it and faked your signature. So you go online, you log into your secure membership account, and you write out that will on your private membership account that stipulates who your tokens must be transferred to on your demise. So it's no one else can write that will for you. Only you can write that will. And if it so happens that you didn't write that will and it's not on your membership profile as a smart contract instruction, that should happen automatically. We need to check up on that. If it does happen automatically, if it is triggered automatically, it should be. And then we need to make sure this happens. So I'm quite excited about this question because it's a good question, and we need to act and make sure that this is done.
Fantastic. We hope that answers your question. If there's some nuances to that you want to clarify, then just send in an email or write it in the comments below what your question is, and we'll deal with that at a later episode. And I should point out actually that I have this list of questions, but neither Julia nor Michael know what I'm going to ask. So this is completely out of the blue for them. Okay. Next question then. Can tokens be physical?
Can a token be physical? We've dealt with this on a few occasions in the past, and the answer to that is it's very, very dangerous the moment you do that. The only reason because then you can be held at gunpoint. Give me your tokens. Someone can break into your house and say, open your safe. Now you got something physical that someone can take from you. And once you've got it as a member in your membership account, in your digital wallet, it's a lot safer there than it is if it's a few physical tokens in your pocket. But then, so once you lose them, they're gone. And then we can't trace who's got them. Anyone's got them, and they can go and pay something at a local store, one small town store, with their physical tokens. There were two occasions that we considered about physical tokens. One of them was like a proper physical gold investment bullion to say, let's mint a limited number of gold coins called the one small town token, and give them a code. And there's only 1,000 of them worldwide. And that becomes a fundraising mechanism for one small town head office. But at the same time, an investment for people into physical gold who are physical gold junkies, and they like having gold coins, whether it's Krugerrands or any of the other gold coins. I don't know too many other gold coins other than Krugerrands. So that was an idea, and we actually went down that road quite a bit, and we found a guy that mints coins here in Johannesburg, and we investigated that, and it still could be done because that's a good physical, potentially a fundraising initiative for the One Small Town head office with physical gold that somebody buys and pays for it, and that helps the One Small Town office pay for our expenses. And then obviously that gold just becomes more valuable because it's a coin and it's gold. So it keeps increasing in value the way gold is increasing in value. The second option, the second token thing that we thought about is, what if the entire global financial system crashes? The internet crashes, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no internet, nothing. How can we create a physical token that can replace the digital token and the digital wallet? Because for some reason, whatever that reason is, we can't use our digital wallets. We should always be able to use our digital wallets because we can localize the tokens, like in a store. As long as the tokens are on a local network in your store, and with all the tills and the computers and scanning the QR codes into a computer, that's fine. You're not on the internet. You don't need the internet. You don't need to email things or send things on WhatsApp or anything. It is your own private network in your store, which could be your town. Your town could be on a private network as well. So each one small town can run on its own private network in that town that gets updated once a week. We can then manufacture and issue physical tokens in each town that are issued numbers from the head office. So the main computer that allocates the infinity tokens will allocate a sequence of numbers to your town where your head office then mints and prints physical tokens that are encoded with a little radio frequency chip. That radio frequency chip carries a frequency that's assigned that token frequency instead of an NFT, which has got some bits written on it. Now that token has got an RF frequency encoded in it, so it's a physical form of an NFT. It's non, you can't fudge it out. It can't disappear. Once you've issued it, unless you bury it and it gets lost, you can't lose it. So each town can then mint their own tokens in plastic or some material with its own radio frequency or RF chip, as you call it, and that token becomes its own unique thing. So it means it can be traced. So you, as a One Small Town member, will then receive tokens for your 3-hour contribution, and we know which of those tokens have been allocated to you as a member. So if you lose that token and somebody else suddenly comes up with a token and they're using it somewhere else, we know that that token belongs to you. So that has been put together as an absolute last kind of straw backup if we need to start using physical tokens instead of digital tokens. I hope this shows people how much work has been done on One Small Town and how far we've gone in thinking and debating and solving problems and thinking ahead.
Yeah, so we have a continuity plan.
Yes, and that is the reason that we are here. While other people are talking about the problems, we are working on the solutions and actively doing them. So that's fantastic. And that does lead into a question which was asked at one of the events, actually, but I feel it's, we're going to need to repeat these a number of times for everyone to hear it. So does the digital currency work when there's no electricity, i.e. after a long power cut? So I think what you've outlined already is that actually, yeah, it will function. But in terms of backing up the data, then it will be backed up in a number of areas. So once the power is back on, then we can just hook up back up to the main platform afterwards, and then re-upload all the data.
I mean, a power cut it's like saying, well, will my bank account still be there if I log off and close my laptop and come back tomorrow and log on again? Is my bank account still going to be there? That's how I see that question. Of course it's going to be there. Everything on your membership system is backed up in several places. So if anything goes wrong, it's backed up. So when it restarts, everything will be there. And if for some reason it's not there, we can trace it back and make a correction.
Yeah,
but
in the very same way,
that's a strange question. I don't quite understand that question.
Well, we're going to have a mixture of questions here, and I suppose as long as we are answering them, then hopefully people will be getting something out of it. So here's an interesting question. It's kind of a two-part question. Well, in fact, it's two questions, but they both relate to each other. The first one is, who is liable if someone working there 3 hours gets injured? And the second part is, how does insurance work in one small town? Is this something that's been thought about?
Yes, a very important question. So that's going to be up to each town and each community to put those structures in place. So remember these are your businesses. You are a co-owner of those businesses because you're contributing your 3 hours. So they will, the community under the ambassador and the management team, together with the council of the community council, the One Small Town Community Council, need to come up with a solution for that. It can't come from head office, because we're not responsible for the businesses that the community start. They're responsible for the businesses that they start themselves, and therefore they need to put in, whatever.
Yeah,
That kind.
all the relevant health, HSE, as they call it, health, safety, and environment things need to be put in place to make sure that everybody is
Yes.
looked after. We can't have people running around the fridge factory
Yeah.
and
So,
falling
so
over.
I would assume that any business, like we will start, say, let's go back to the fridge factory. So we start a fridge factory in your town. That business runs as a normal business. It's not a weird, hippies trying to put together a fridge. This is a serious business. And with that business come all the laws required by that business in your country, whatever country that is, and all the labor, regulations that come with employing people and so forth. And the people that contribute their 3 hours will probably fall under the volunteers or volunteer contributors towards the business or the company. So if anything happens to them, it will be under the company legislation and rules and terms and conditions of what is a protection and how does a company deal with a volunteer or a delivery person that arrives at the company and gets injured. It's the same thing. I'm saying I'm delivering something and I've come up the stairs in your company delivering a parcel and I fall down the stairs, I get injured. What insurance has the company got for my injury while I was on the premises? So that company, your business that belongs to you and your community, you have to put those things in place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And someone, as by way of feedback, says, and I do have one other question that we're going to get through, but before then, someone by way of feedback said they would like better and more frequent updates. Well, thank you for that. This is exactly why we're here today, and we are being more consistent now with the newsletter, and there'll be one due out shortly. We are arranging some events around the UK for those in the UK, so keep an abreast of that. And we'll be doing lots of things on these podcasts, including interviews with other people, business updates, updates on the hub, updates on Zoom calls, what's happening. And on that note, I think Julia, we've got an event happening, haven't we, coming up?
Yes, we have down in Kent. There is a community there that's very interested in what we're doing, and this was almost arranged for us on the back of the Dorking event, and it is in a place called I can't say it, Benenden Hall, which is in Kent. I've posted it on the the British Isles Facebook page. It takes place on Wednesday, the evening of Wednesday, the 6th of August. So that's next week, I think. And if you'd like to come along, email us at britishisles@onesmalltown.org to let us know you're coming. And there is a donation on the door. And this is Michael Chamberlain and I who's going to give you an introduction and give you some updates, especially about the One Small Town Hub. What else have I missed?
Another question around that was, will you be emailing the presentation slides?
Yes.
Right. So we're going to be providing the presentation again, I believe, aren't we?
We're going to be videoing the presentation again so that we can expand a little bit more on the content there. And also those slides, we're going to make them available. We're adding a few more in to just put some of the context around some of the things that are said verbally, so that you've got almost like a complete information deck within the slides. So look out for those. Those are coming soon, as well as the video around those slides.
Okay, so thank you. We'll get to the final question then. And actually, you're going to want to tune in on the next episode because we have some really relevant question around farmers and food and seeds and crops. And it's really important for so many countries now that we ensure that we take care of that. So stick around for the next episode for that. But our final question in this particular episode is it's a great question. I am excited to see how I can support this fantastic initiative. So would you like to take us through the wonderful ways that members and non-members can support this initiative?
Great. So first thing that every member, everyone who wants to know, how can I help? How can I get involved? How can I participate? First thing you need to do is go on our website, onesmalltown.org, and click Become a Member. It's the first thing you need to do. Become a member, sign up as a member. When you click on become a member, it takes you to the platform, and then you go into the protected area, the secure area where you put all your details in, and then you become a member. And then you can log in as a member and see all the different options you have as a member. You can apply to be an ambassador or a business planner or a community leader or any of these things, right? So that's the first thing that everyone should do. Second thing is see if you've got enough money every month, if you can afford, $10 or $20 or $100 a month, whatever it is, and go online and go onto your digital wallet and buy Infinity tokens. So every month you buy 3 or 4 or 10 Infinity tokens, whatever it is that you can afford. And if you subscribe to a 12-month plan of buying tokens, that means you buy them at the price. You keep getting them at the price that they were when you first placed your order. So there's still people that are getting the tokens for like $1.10 or $2 when they place their order, as opposed to $5.11 or whatever the price is at the moment. So those people are scoring big time because they placed the order 2 years ago when the token was still very low. So if you order now at $5.11, you know that your token is still going to be sold to you at $5.11 when it's at $20 or $30 and eventually at $40. You're still going to be getting it at $5.11 for as long as we've got millions of, several million tokens available until they sold out. So buy tokens, buy Infinity tokens. And then also if you have, if you want to start and activate Once More Town in your community, read how to get involved on our website and how to become an ambassador, and decide what role you want to play and take it from there.
Can I also add, stay up to date, sign up to the newsletter, because we'll be pushing out some more information via the main newsletter. There's also obviously social media. So I suspect many of you are already connected to Michael Tellinger's Facebook and Telegram pages, but there is also a British Isles Facebook, and we hope to build up the British Isles Telegram group as well. So so make sure you're connected with us, and also the YouTube channels as well, because that way we can send out, particularly as we're ramping up all the information that's now going to come out. That's another way of staying in touch, but really the important thing is to be a member.
Yes, and we're ramping up everything that we do. So that includes the membership across all the platforms, as Julia said, with this one as well. So on that note, don't forget to like and subscribe. And Once More Town, as Michael says, is a simple concept, but there's a lot of detail around it, and you do need to understand what that detail is if you're going to get more involved. Now, you can do that by going to the website, oncemoretown.org. There's a lot of information videos and a lot of literature on there you can read through to get a better understanding. But that's also why we're doing this podcast and many more beyond this as well, so that we can answer those questions. So we're here willing to answer any question that you want to throw at us. Make sure you put it in the comments below or email it in. So anything we'd like to add before we sign off here?
No, just once again, thanks to all the people in England, UK, and all those that came from all over Europe and Ireland to the events that we held in England. It was fantastic seeing everybody there, and some really wonderful business people, business-minded people that have engaged with us afterwards. Some social media people like Catherine and others. So it's really fantastic. The turnout we had and the caliber of people that came. That's what really impressed me.
Yeah,
so thank you to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. From me too, as well.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for helping to answer those questions, you two. And thank you to everyone for listening. Tune in for episode 2. Don't forget, it's important questions for farmers in this one as well. So we'll see you on the next one. Thank you and goodbye.